Yeah.
Well, you know why I want you to bring up stuff that's off topic and not that interesting.
Okay.
It's also the de facto Thanksgiving cast.
Thanksgiving cast, man.
Episode 16, here we are. This is going to be the last podcast we have before Thanksgiving. And then we're going to have one more, presumably, for Art's upcoming pick. And then we're going to have the Christmas cast, too.
Oh, yeah.
Which is going to be a real hullabaloo.
Yep. It's the season for the pleasing. And that being said, does this movie please you?
This movie does please me.
Chris, did this movie please you?
This movie pleased me greatly.
Does this movie please you?
But listen. Did your Chick-fil-A Thanksgiving meal please you?
Actually, you know what? Like, to make it...
he just threw down on the spot.
Yeah,
actually...
in the studio.
Thanksgiving-y, I ordered the mac and cheese for the first time from Chick-fil-A.
From
Have y'all ever
Chick-fil-A?
done it?
I didn't know they had mac and cheese.
They do. And, I'm kind of disappointed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because most of the mac and cheese that I've had at restaurants is pretty damn good stuff. Like, because
it's not craft; it's just like a whole nother level.
Yeah, but it's because if I order it, I'm ordering it from a very nice barbecue joint here in Houston, you know, or Texas area, where they're like, you know, all these, you know, magazines and blogs written about all these barbecue joints. So like, their mac and cheese is going to be on point.
Yeah.
So that's the only mac and cheese I order at restaurants, because like I only go to fast food or a nice barbecue or Mexican restaurant.
Mac and cheese has to have some notoriety, otherwise it's not going to give
right
business.
Yeah.
Right, and because I don't make a point to go to like diners really that might serve meh food. Like, I don't.
There is Just Mac around here though.
That is true.
Artisan mac and cheese. Have you had that?
You had that?
My friend Darren has got me some of the Cajun Just Mac, and it was really good. It came with andouille sausage.
Oh yeah,
and it had some like Tony Zataran's seasoning on it.
That's what I'm talking about.
That goes really good on fries.
Oh yeah.
And that stuff is pretty.
That's a hopping joint.
Yeah, it was pretty badass.
Yeah,
but like Chick-fil-A is super high tier, but mac and cheese not doing it for me.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's a shame.
Yeah, I mean it had like on the advertisement it was completely gooey, like, you know, like it had just been made, you know, and it came with the crust, and the crust can be okay, but this was an older crust, a wiser crust, and. But the thing off topic I was going to talk about real quick though was like I made a lot of strides, and like I've kind of mentioned to you guys off mic a bit, like I've been really into indie game development stuff and learning how to do resources and all kinds of stuff, and like I have like a proof of concept scenario that is like 98% done.
Wow.
Like I have a start screen, I have character portrait, character sprite, villain graphic, a background for the battle scene, resources for like the whole scene, that like, and everything's hand drawn by me and done in the you know, where the scene takes place, and so that's really fun.
No, we can talk about whatever. I mean, like it's a movie podcast, but we want to talk about other things, but the main focus be the movie that we picked for the week.
Oh yeah,
talk about whatever.
Yeah,
we can work it in, you know,
like macaroni.
But you're gonna have to pay for some ad space eventually.
Okay.
See, like the macaroni you just consume, we can have some sides.
You can have
course
some sides,
though.
Yeah.
Does your game that you're working on have some old crust around the edges though?
Yeah, the whole thing is like to be what I imagine. Like there weren't any. There was maybe one or two survival horror games on the Nintendo platform. So before, you know, Super Famicom, there was Sweet Home. Have you guys heard of that?
Mm-mm.
So Sweet Home is the first Capcom survival horror game, and it is an RPG. The little guys look like Dragon Warrior / Final Fantasy 1 and 2 characters. And you explore a haunted mansion. You have a party. It's like an investigator, an exorcist, a doctor.
So that sounds like a predecessor to Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Right, and so
Capcom property also.
And you stop. You know, there's little puzzles just like there are. You know, that make the artificial gates, if you will, and that, you know, that comes back into Resident Evil. So this game, I would say, is most like, well, my big plan is to like make a completely free one using the latest RPG maker software, and then just like release it for free and try to get other people in the community to play it, and then just learn as much as I can. And then I've also started fiddling around with Unity.
Oh, cool.
And then so for a second project, I want to do everything from the ground up.
Yeah,
and then
that sounds cool.
and then sell it maybe at the Steam store for like a few dollars.
Yeah.
And I even have been thinking, like, I've been really excited because I went to school for film and media production. And so like in 2008, like I would watch The Evil Dead with the director's commentary, watch Clerks, read about El Mariachi, and I was like, I want to make an indie movie, you know? And it was like kind of like a driving thing, and you know, it's like, and then that kind of died. Like the whole indie movies almost don't exist anymore, you know, to the capacity that they used to.
Yeah.
Like with the markets and there's a lot of micro films, you know, which are like
Indie films aren't really independent films anymore. It's a genre.
yeah,
That's the thing.
It means Netflix funded now.
Sort of, yeah.
kind of.
It's like really an indie film is just like a small story.
Yeah.
It's not like a blockbuster
Yes,
war
exactly.
movie.
So, like, people may still call Manchester by the Sea
Yes,
an indie film.
exactly.
And it
Even though
is
that was a
not an
huge
independent
movie.
film. Yeah, it's got multiple, you know.
But it's just the way that it looks and the setting.
the
and
fact that
everything.
it's not Avengers.
Right,
It's not
exactly.
a Marvel or Disney property.
Anything that's not a Marvel property is an indie film, basically.
And, yeah, that's what it feels like nowadays.
Yeah, or I
Does
guess
feel
just
like
anything that isn't a Disney film at this point.
Well, actually, that's more apt, yeah.
yeah.
Like, I kind of want to go watch, like, Overlord, not because, like,
That's that
J.J.
J.J.
Abrams
World War II
produced-
nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see.
As crazy as it is, but it's also like I want to go watch a movie that's not a property I've ever heard of, another IP, or
That's true.
and it's
And
like
J.J. Abrams is very competent in what he does, so.
Oh,
But
without
it's just
doubt.
like, I don't know. That really throws me
it
off.
definitely seems like they were like, let's make a Wolfenstein movie, and then
Yeah.
something fell through, and they're like, let's make it anyway,
Yeah.
and just not call it
That's
Wolfenstein,
true,
right?
yeah. That's like Star Fox Adventures.
Oh, yeah?
That
Yeah.
wasn't going to be a Star Fox title at all. It
Then
was like.
Nintendo's like,
That's why the dinosaurs are in there,
Yeah.
and I think
I always
so-
thought that was a weird ass
something
game.
fell
Yeah.
through, and then Shigeru Miyamoto was like, "Let's put Fox on it and then
Yeah.
sell
Just
it."
do it, man.
That's why that's a weird fucking game.
yep.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make any sense why it exists.
Talking about things that don't make sense. Let's talk about the Truman Show.
The Truman Show doesn't make sense.
Well, let's talk about.
All right, we're putting the spotlight on you right now. Why doesn't it make sense?
Well, I think the movie makes sense, but I'm talking from at
Oh,
the very
the
least
show
from,
doesn't make
from Truman's perspective.
Yeah, okay.
Things that don't make sense.
Giving you a hard time, giving
Yeah,
you a little
come
razzle
on,
dazzle,
jeez.
giving you a nugget.
Oh, well, I thought you were
You little
talking
swirly.
about another level of it, which is, you know, the show, the Truman Show, does not make sense.
Oh no, I think the Truman. I think
Oh,
the
I think it
show.
totally
I think the
makes
show, The
sense.
Truman Show,
Yeah.
could exist
I
in
do
real
too.
life.
I do too.
Like-
Absolutely. And that was one of the things I wrote down. If that existed, would you watch it?
I would watch it.
And I said, how could you not?
Yeah.
I
How
agree.
could you not
Okay,
at least?
That's must see
Yeah,
television.
yeah. Okay, like, but before we get to that, because I wrote that down actually about the very last thing happening, or like whenever the feed cuts off.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the media explosion of something like that happening.
Oh,
right?
now how we demand to know everything.
Yeah,
Like
the
two,
panic of
two washed up rappers like Machine Gun Kelly and Eminem go at each other. And like people are like frothing at the mouth, just like,
Yeah.
what's the next clapback?
Yeah.
And it's like, would you, if you could compare the Truman Show to a white rapper, who would it be? Would it be the Macklemore?
G-Eazy.
Easy. Ugh.
That's so disrespectful.
Horrifying.
This is a good movie.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. So
I
Truman
don't
Show.
like G-Eazy.
I don't like G-Eazy either.
Well, speak for yourself. No, I don't like G-Eazy. So Truman Show, 1998 PG film. Despite them saying shit,
Was that a
lot.
PG movie?
Yeah, it's a PG film.
I was wondering, because, not that it's explicit in any way, but the themes are pretty mature in a way. Like,
Yeah.
almost psychological
Yeah.
thriller themes, at least. Like, there were times when I was watching
it's
this.
a very adult film.
Yes, there were times when I was watching this where I was just like, woo!
Well, right,
Man.
like when Kristoff makes a decision to try and kill Truman, like that's dark. That's
That
not
is.
that's not a PG topic.
Just the whole like loss of innocence thing too,
Yeah.
when he finds or he's starting to unravel the secret.
Supplanting fake memories by killing his dad and all the
Yeah.
trauma they put him through. Like they gave him like a crippling aquaphobia.
Yes,
Yeah.
which was geniusly written into the meta narrative of the Truman Show. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. Like they do a really good job of answering like the questions, like
Yeah,
the
it's
obvious ones, like why doesn't he run away?
Why can't he leave this island? Oh, because he's deathly terrified of anything involving water.
And it's really funny when that stuff doesn't work as well. Like whenever Truman's dad shows back up, they ask Christoph, "How are you going to explain that?" Amnesia.
Yeah.
And it's like brilliant.
Right.
So
But, yeah, man, this is my first time watching it. I know you guys had seen it, but
Yeah.
I was not expecting to be as horrified at moments as I was.
yeah,
There were some times where I was like, I don't know, it was kind of hard to watch at points, especially when he's in the fight with his like pinup model wife that's giving all the
Yeah, yeah.
advertisements.
Yeah, that's very tense.
Yeah.
Because you definitely think he might kill this bitch. Like,
she thinks that too. Like
and like, I tell you what, like,
Well, everyone's lying to him too, and he thinks he's going crazy, but he's on the right side
Right,
of things.
yeah. Like,
It's just like, ugh.
yeah,
I don't think I'm a violent person, but I do have a temper.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I imagine myself in that situation and empathize and thinking like if I'm
Exactly.
experiencing a world-breaking event, like
Yeah.
I might do something awful.
and the
like,
fact that
and so that gives me fear watching him do it.
and that
you know?
everyone's deflecting as hard as they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's terrifying.
Jim Carrey plays a really likable character.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
And you can totally empathize with him and kind of like put your own emotions on him and like how would I react in this situation?
Yeah.
I guarantee it wouldn't be as graceful probably.
Yeah.
Exactly. I keep thinking that what I would ultimately do is just like deuce out of this world.
Well, and
It's like that's kind of what it felt like he was trying to do towards the end.
Yeah.
whenever his best friend was looking for him, I think like that's what they were scared of, and the way that they solved problems, the way that the show itself solved the problems, like any things going askew, that's terrifying too.
Yes,
like
it is.
like when he was listening to his moves on the radio,
Yeah.
like that's awful. Like I really really enjoy this movie, and it's my favorite Jim Carrey role. It shows how good of an actor he is, because not only do you have to play this character, you have to play the character and try and be genuine as
Right.
well. Like
yeah. He did a really fantastic job of doing that.
so yeah, Truman Show. I wanted to say some details about the movie. 1998 PG, Paramount Films, directed by Peter Weir. And also directed Master and Commander, Witness, and Dead Poet Society.
Oh.
And it was written by Andrew Niccol, who directed In Time, the Justin Timberlake movie,
I
where
remember that.
people use time as their currency. And he also wrote Gattaca.
Gattaca's awesome.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I had no idea.
And here's the thing, like I haven't seen this movie in a while, but man, they have some really good actors in this movie, or like at the very least well-known names. Like
My favorite actor in this, outside of the actual movie, Noah Emmerich, the guy that plays Marlon, his friend. That guy's a fantastic actor. I don't know if you've ever seen the show The Americans, but he's one of the main characters on it.
I haven't seen it.
He is fantastic in that show. Which, by the way, I've never brought up, but I did watch all that, and that has probably firmly gotten a place in my top 5 shows
Whoa.
of all time.
Carrie Russell can get it.
Carrie-
I'm gonna have to watch it.
She's cast in the new Star Wars.
And she's a communist. Sign me up.
Cold-hearted one too. Hey,
Ooh.
high five, man.
so, you got your names. You got Jim Carrey.
You got your Jim Carreys,
You got your Paul Giamatti's.
Paul Giamatti's.
Your Philip Baker Halls.
Yes, I
PBH.
wanted more of him.
Yeah.
I wanted more PBH.
More
Um,
PBH.
Ed
And-
Harris.
Yeah, and now Ed Harris. Like Ed Harris.
Ed Harris.
Who I didn't recognize at first.
Really?
Yeah.
I
know
recognized
turtleneck.
it immediately.
It was a turtleneck, I think.
Kangol hat.
Because
Yeah.
like when I watched Apollo 13 again recently, I was like, that's Ed Harris.
That is Ed Harris at his most Ed Harry.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
be honest.
It's so cool because I like recently not that this movie's recently, but the ones that I've seen, Ed Harris plays this really cool, like someone who's completely convinced that they're a good person characters. Like Ed Harris in this movie is so
he's that
convinced.
guy in The Rock
in the
with
what?
Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery.
I
He
haven't
plays
seen
a military commander who's completely convinced in the morality of his mission.
Yeah.
He's trying to get money for. He had a special ops group that was like, black site. Like nobody knew about it. But a lot of people died, and all these families needed money, and there's wounded soldiers. So he basically becomes the bad guy, and he tries to extort the United States with threat of sending a missile to San Francisco.
Jeez.
But he's like very
super convinced.
Super convinced in his path, and and then he's also like in Apollo 13. He's in control of everything. And it makes me wonder: is Ed Harris in control of my life?
Probably.
And
he's just in the moon, watching down.
Yeah, just smoking a cigarette, like
turn the weather up.
But
crank up the Texans losing.
Crank up the Texans.
It's getting to like dangerous levels. His production team's like, no, we can't do it.
They're gonna lose out. They're not gonna make the playoffs.
Have him pull a hamstring.
Oh, initiate Deshaun Watson ACL tear.
Oh God!
Turn up the Osweiler level.
Oh
no! The Osweiler.
How dare you? What a horrifying.
But yeah, like he plays this like super self-convinced, benevolent God. You know what I mean? Like, and it becomes super obvious at the end how he's like. Yeah, he needs Truman a lot.
They're like a symbiotic relationship almost. And there's like something strangely sexual about it too. I thought.
Yeah, like.
I didn't get that, but I can understand it.
Yeah,
I didn't get it, but I understand that perspective. But let's suppose this is real, right? We're talking about sexuality and everything. Every voyeur in the world is like, this is their dream come true. Mm-hmm. Just absolute voyeurism.
Putting in applications
24/7. Like,
can we put in the wide angle lens? Sorry.
Fisheye lens in the bathtub. Nice.
It's cool, man. Like, on top of everything, to turn a little bit like the technical side, I always like when. Like when you're talking about, I always like when they explain stuff. Or you were talking about that, how they explain stuff. I remember in when we watched Blade Runner.
It makes great speculative fiction.
Yeah,
it makes poor horror and certain genres, but for this kind of thing, you need a level, and that's what separates the boys from the men.
Yeah.
When it comes to this genre.
Yeah, right. It's building a background that's believable.
Right.
Well, I think they did it in a really clever way with that talk show, like the
that little commercial break.
It's like the talk show that comes on when he's sleeping, and there's like a lull in action. And it kind of like it's exposition, but it's also like it fits in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very cleverly done.
And the thing is, they find really subtle, but smooth ways to introduce ideas or to at the very least convince us that this is something possible. Like the intro of the movie, the intro credits are the actors talking,
giving testimonials,
and their names are their fake names.
Yeah,
like they're playing the characters who are playing the characters. Like that's so cool. And whenever they were, one of my main things was. This show has been running for, was it like 10,000 days?
10,000 something days. 30 years.
Yeah. So my one of my first thoughts was, they talk about the development of cameras. So how did they work around that when he was younger? Where supposedly camera technology would not have been as advanced. And one of the questions is answered whenever he's laying in his crib and there's literally just a camera
on the
pointing,
mobile thing.
And that makes sense. Why would he care when he's a child? You know what I mean? Like they can be a lot less subtle with it, especially when little kids are more easily convinced. Like the Mount Rushmore stuff, a little kid doesn't know what Mount Rushmore looks like. He's not gonna question it.
Yeah, like when they're flipping through a scrapbook, he's like, that looks really small.
Yeah, and then
mom's just like, well, everything looks smaller when they're there in person.
Or when he's climbing up.
I think
hill.
that's so cool. It's so funny, but like that's a great part where it handles like tone and it scratches the back of your brain when it gives you scenes like that.
And some of that stuff, like the scrapbook thing, is like some Metal Gear Solid 2 stuff.
Yeah.
Fake memories. They're constructing and like supplanting fake memories and things. Like, whoa.
And it's cool how they wrote the script to play around with you. Once you actually start paying attention and you're conscious of they're trying to hide this, the words that they use are very specific. So the mom says, oh, I remember when we went to Mount Rushmore. You slept the whole way there.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's the thing that really caught me about this movie is it could have been so cheesy, but they were really clever with the way they wrote everything.
Yeah.
And they didn't take any shortcuts. They made sure to, at least as far as I could tell, they made sure to like cover all their tracks.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
how would he not realize they never left the thing
Yeah.
while he slept the whole way?
Yeah.
But it does a good job of also never over-explaining and knowing
Yes.
where the drama lies in the movie, right? Because you can make this tedious,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And there's like definitely, the desire. I can see the creative desire for somebody who's like, I want to make this air-proof, and you just end up writing a cumbersome script,
Yeah.
filled with way too much exposition and everything. But instead, what's masterful about it is that like I said, this is a movie that is speculative fiction, but is highly dramatic.
Yeah.
And it lays into the drama, and lets the play unfold.
And and the way that they wrote some of those downfalls is again dramatic. Like whenever he finds out about the elevator, he breaks down. He's just he can't comprehend what that was and why that was there, and like people trying to explain that away like bothers him a lot. And
It bothered me.
Yeah,
I like the consistency too. The wife has to go in and like be a nurse for some surgery because an elevator fell.
Yeah.
So they all got that same like message in their headset or whatever.
And it's cool because like whenever like the first thing that happens also the star in the sky falls and it's labeled Sirius, like the star. So it's a lamp in the sky.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. So
Is that a constellation?
the Sirius, it's the brightest observable star from Earth.
Look at
But
this
it's not the
smart
clo-
motherfucker.
but it's not the
over here.
closest.
It's also a dog.
It's also the dog.
I thought it was like a.
It's also XFM radio.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
I thought
That's where the star gets its namesake.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I passed that on so nonchalantly. You're like, yeah.
Yeah,
Por supuesto.
and it's cool because after that happens, you hear on the radio it's like,
didn't
there was
catch
a
that.
balloon. There was a balloon accident and some
Yeah.
equipment fell.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out over there.
No, it was like a plane had
Oh,
to
yeah,
drop
yeah.
some of its cargo or
Yeah.
something.
And so like, thankfully, no one was hurt. And after the radio signal messes up and they get back, it's like, oh, that was we must have gotten a police scanner or something.
Yeah.
And it's cool. Like, I think the way that they wrote mistakes is really clever, and it's subtle in ways that
Well, it lets
like,
you get a little peek into what's happening too.
yeah. I don't know if y'all noticed this, but me having seen the movie, I really had an eye out for any inconsistencies or any something that like
You could do things like See the Serious.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so
Where it went by Chris, and it went by me, even
Yeah.
though.
one thing
Rewatch
that I thought was really cool, and like they brush it off to the side whenever hold on, I will be right back. Sorry. Oh, sorry. We picked up some police signal or something.
Oh, but we're back on the track.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is, whenever he goes to the travel agency or the lady, he's sitting there for a little bit, and then she walks. She's like, "Sorry, I was so and so." She has a napkin tucked into her shirt, which can mean two things. One, she was having lunch
Right?
and had to pull her out, or
Lunch
she was
break.
getting her makeup done
Oh,
and had
yeah.
to quickly like.
Like she was at craft services, or she was
Yeah.
getting her makeup done.
And she notices it a little late into the conversation, like swipes it down and like puts it in her pocket.
You know that's great about that? It's because it's like they have to spare no expense,
Yeah.
but they also have to have
Yeah.
protocol to where they don't go
Yeah.
like spend every dollar in the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's the reason why there are people in the surgery room,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
not
yes. I love that scene. Yeah.
but like none of them know how to do anything. Or like how the guy who drives the boat also is the guy who drives
bus
the
driver.
the coach bus. So
Yeah.
He fucks up the boat the same way, just
Yeah.
like moving the thing back and forth.
and like I think about that, and I think about the way that like they had to account for that as he got older, because like you can't just explain away something. You can't just explain something away like they did in an earlier scene when they talk about like Truman is climbing up some rocks and he hears like construction happening, and he's just like, and they're like, Truman, don't go over there, it's dangerous. He's like, what's over there? Nothing. Don't worry about it. Just calm down.
I feel like
Oh,
my parents
okay.
told me that, though, right?
Yeah. Nothing.
Bad. Why? It is.
It's nothing.
Okay.
Arthur, we're not a part of it. You know why?
Why?
Because there is no it.
Oh man, dude, that scene is rough, man. Like, not cause you know that it's not him being reunited with his dad. It's like being told to your face, "I'm not in on it." Like, I'm not like you're to your best friend who you've known for your entire life to tell you.
That was sad.
I would tell you if something was up. That sucks. Like, man, that part choked me up. 'Cause,
And
like,
that was the part where they kind of first
That makes me
revealed
wanna cry, just thinking about it.
the people directly giving lines to Marlon.
yeah,
That scene I wrote down at the time. I was like, man, this is like both hilarious and really sad.
yeah.
Like, man,
And doesn't that make it such a good movie?
yeah,
And
Yeah.
doesn't this movie
like extreme emotional highs
Just
at
make
the
you-
same
There's
time.
some
does it
really
make you mad?
Yeah, there's some really funny parts in this movie too. Like whenever he,
It's got everything. It's
What-
got drama. It's high production. You could take your kids to go watch it. Like, it's got everything.
it's good.
It's got everything.
It's good, man.
I don't know why it took me so long. Well, I guess it didn't. You know, you're the one
Yeah,
who urged
no,
me to
yeah,
do
like-
it, but
And I can
there's-
see
yeah.
how it doesn't pique your curiosity when you have. How do they advertise on a Netflix banner, right? It's actually personalized. Have y'all heard about that?
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
you mean like the
Mm-hmm.
synopses?
The little thumbnails.
Really?
They're personalized to your preference, and it says something that Netflix thinks about you.
Interesting.
Right? Some of them can be very violent, and
Huh.
like was listening to a podcast about somebody talking about their preference. They watch a lot of horror movies, so it's usually a woman in pain, you know, or
Oh my God.
or
Perfect.
something, or like some people they think that they want to see the ensemble, so they have multiple characters
Huh.
on the
Oh,
cover.
yeah.
Mine, I noticed mine is always one person, and so if your Netflix is like mine, you just see Jim Carrey smiling, looking young, and it says The Truman Show.
Yeah.
I don't remember what mine was.
And it's like it could.
I can check mine right now.
I also don't watch a lot of Netflix, so it might be skewed one way or the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has a lot of highs and lows. Because like there's some really funny parts in this movie, and you know, and it's not in typical Jim Carrey.
Well, all the
Humor,
the
like-
thing about also that the thing about it is all the comedy is undercut by like these lies that are just flying at Truman's face.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like it's hard not to.
It's very dark.
It's hard not to laugh and also feel like soul crushed about it at
Yeah.
the same time, which is a really strange mix of emotions.
And I think that's really great. When you have a comedy that does bite like that, but at the same time, it doesn't retreat into Anthony Jeselnik black comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, I'm just gonna say or show the most awful thing possible. Isn't that gallows? Instead, it is heartfelt and it's fun. It's like Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah.
That, aw, like, haha, aw,
Yeah.
like,
No, I get you.
yeah.
It's like when the wife just all of a sudden is trying to like product place the hot
Oh my
chocolate.
God.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Who are you talking to?"
Yeah. Like.
And he's like, you see his mind like
Yeah.
unraveling. It's like, oh
now,
god,
so
he's noticing.
scared.
this
Yeah.
is scary.
Yeah.
Oh,
But it's also like that's pretty funny.
Because the thing is, he sort of noticed it earlier when he was cutting the grass, and she's like, "I bought you this knife thing." He's
Yeah.
like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Like,
The kitchen pal or
yeah,
whatever.
he knows something was wrong with it, but he didn't think, "Wait, there's a reason that's wrong that she
Yeah.
did that." Like,
but that's also like when I'm going to when they were choosing, what to not put in this movie, and it's like if you wanted to make it just super super airtight, you would say, well, of course they wouldn't do that. That'd fall through so quickly. So let's just write that out.
yeah.
Or explain it away or whatever. But instead, they left it in because, it posed an interesting idea and for a very dramatic, fun moments.
Yeah.
But it's
you know?
also like you have to think about it this way. It's like the mental leap he would have to take upon first seeing that. It's like I'm on a TV show. It's like,
Right,
well,
right.
yeah, you wouldn't automatically think that.
And Ed Harris says that in the beginning. He says, "We accept the reality we're presented with."
Exactly.
So
yeah.
why would he question it ever? Like, whenever he talks to those twins, they always push him up against that poster.
the advertisement.
Yeah, why would he question that? Why would he look back and think, "Oh, I'm in an advertisement right
Yeah.
now"? Like,
Well, it's also like, then you get into this weird place of, where like life imitates art, and then vice versa. When kids start talking like the Disney Channel shows that they're watching, where just 5 years ago nobody talked like that, and it was wildly inaccurate, but now kids are talking like it because they've been watching it for so long.
Yeah.
And it's like you definitely see people who talk like they're in a movie, right? Or who talk like that they're a character, or that they're advertising, or that there are people like that in real life, who talk like that. And it would make sense why it might just pass over you, and you would just be like, huh. I mean, that's just what it is to be an American, to be completely inundated with consumer culture.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, I mean, yeah. Look at how like one example I can think of is look at how Fortnite affected the way kids behave. Like,
at any sporting event where the camera's on the kid, he's
Start
doing
flossing.
the Fortnite dance. Yeah.
start flossing, man.
yeah. My cousin Mark is going to probably do that at my sister's wedding in a
Yep.
few days. He's 13, and last time I was home, he was doing the dance just in the middle of nowhere.
And that's like it becomes normal. It's not weird to do that.
Yeah.
Like it.
I saw a kid dab in mass. Swear to God.
Wait, like in mass, like a Catholic
No,
service? Or
no,
like
not
a bunch of
not a
kids?
lot of kids
In
mass.
in Catholic mass. And
In mass.
he was like in the cry room. And he was like 13,
I have a confession.
13, my
I'm dabbing.
God.
and like he had a Dynamo jersey,
Coach, I'm dabbing.
and like every time his mom turned around, he was doing it so hard, his hands would flail back and forth very fast, if you can imagine, dear reader, and then just flop, 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 and then
The home run hit.
I saw the glass shake.
You saw Jesus on the cross. His eyebrows went. Whew.
You saw.
He gave the sign like it was lit. He just did one of these.
You see. You know in Jurassic Park when the cup shakes.
Yeah.
When the T-Rex, the comedian won.
The community went. I sense great power.
Oh man. Yeah. The Truman Show is sort of like that.
Sort of like that.
But
oh my gosh, like there's so many moral implications, and just
Yeah.
like then you just think about okay, what would the
I know,
world
dabbing in church. Jesus.
what would the world around the Truman Show look like?
well, and
You
that's,
know?
yeah. Well, there's the Truman Bar. I can see that happening.
Yes.
There's people who watch Truman 24/7.
We have in this universe a Truman Show podcast,
Really?
like in the alternate universe. We're all
Oh,
sitting
yeah,
around
I see what you're saying,
Oh, totally. Yeah.
talking about the Truman Show.
Yeah. Like it. You can see how a company could monetize something like that.
Watch Mojo's top 10 Truman Show
Truman Show.
moments.
Well, right. They talk about how there's a greatest hits, and that's when the what's her name? Not Sylvia. Sylvia, right? The girl that he's in love with.
Oh, I don't remember. No, Lauren.
It's
Like
not
the real girl.
Laurel or
Sophia.
Yanni?
The one that he met in the library.
Yeah,
Lauren.
but that's her fake name.
Oh,
I just call her Hot Stuff.
Stone Cold Fox.
Um,
It's henceforth.
Isn't it?
but
Oh, it is a little lame. It's like the plastic wife is blonde and
Oh, she was a pinup model.
Yeah, the
that
real-
was the
Yeah.
whole thing. She was like an old
Yeah.
advertisement.
Also, it's crazy how they talk about how they monetize it. Everything on the show is for sale.
Yeah.
Everything people
Yeah.
wear, all the products.
in the Truman catalog.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's crazy. Like,
That's so funny. Like it could. It's
When
really
does it
funny how
take place?
they expand upon the rules of the world. Like, yeah, but why would they have this show? What's the point? It's all consumerism.
yeah,
Like-
Sylvia. Wait,
it's
Sylvia.
Sylvia.
Oh, wow, this is confusing.
That's
okay,
her real name.
so let's go over this again. No, okay. As Sylvia playing Lauren Garland.
Yeah.
So her name's Lauren at first, but her name is actually Sylvia.
Yeah, because remember he reads her name on the notebook, and she doesn't respond to it because of course she's not learning, and he speaks to her.
course.
He speaks to her in Japanese,
And she's not actually.
and she's not learning Japanese.
Yeah. See, this movie does warrant another watch.
Like and it's so cool because there's so much
I
stuff.
didn't catch
like,
that.
Like God, one thing you should start looking out for if you watch it again, those like half dome or those dome cameras.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah.
Those black circles.
I caught onto that pretty quickly.
Like there's one on the trash can.
Those
on
are
his
hidden
neighbor.
cameras,
Yeah,
yeah.
like, and man, they do such a cool job with like building this weird little world
Yeah.
that you know, of course you wouldn't question it if you're used to it. Also, I imagine it takes place somewhere in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Because or like late 90s, early 2000s, because this is a 98 film, but there's like those are
Why
Ford
are
Taurus.
they? But why in the Truman Show are they married to this 50s aesthetic?
Because I think Christoph fantasizes about that. I think
Well, that's
the
American,
pure American life. and
American
that's what he's
dream,
recreating.
white picket fence.
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
He's saying that all things given, I can make this real.
yeah.
This American memory, whether it ever existed or not.
Yeah.
But here it is. It is real because look, there's Truman in it.
I wonder to what degree they thought about this. I wonder. I'll ask y'all guys. Why do you think they chose, like classical music? Because that's really the only music besides when they go back in time and they're dancing that doo-wop or whatever.
Sock hop.
Yeah. Like, why do you think they would choose classical music? Like that's the only music he listens to. And
the score of the show.
yeah. Because that's what he listens to in the radio. That's what plays when there's emotional stuff happening, or like stuff that's important to him, that affects him.
Is it classical or is it original score in a classical tradition?
No, he listens to classical music on the radio.
Right, but then the actual score of the movie, is it classical music or is it in the tradition of?
I think it's using the same instruments,
So
but it's original
classical arrangement.
music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I know for a fact I have heard the music that he plays on the radio as actual music.
Bet money there's a reason for those
I mean,
songs.
Yeah.
the only thought. Yeah, I'm sure. The only thought I could think is just because it keeps away from outside influences.
Yeah, there's no pop hits. There's no
It's
new
timeless.
hits. Yeah.
He doesn't have to write to,
Yeah.
gee, I wonder what Paul McCartney is doing.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, Paul McCartney,
Yeah.
he's dead.
Yeah.
Ooh, awkward.
I think the world that they created in this show is really cool because
And all the little flavor around it too, like the people watching the show, and like the two old women that are super fans with like all their like their throw pillows that have his face on it.
the Japanese family watching it.
Yeah, and like you said, the Truman Bar, they're
Yeah.
all just like glued to the TV. I like stuff like that. It builds the world in an interesting way.
And also Sylvia, she's an anti-Truman Show
it's
advocate.
It has so many little details like that that are like it makes the world more believable.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because
that would exist.
Yeah,
It's
of
lived
course.
in.
Yeah. It's so cool. I really
There are forces happening outside of what you're just seeing, which
Yeah.
is an important part of world building.
yeah. And the thing is, you don't have to build super deep into it. Like even just
Exactly.
referencing it.
It's all flavor, but it's very effective.
Yeah.
But,
Man, I like this movie. Like
I really loved it.
Yeah.
I think like
it's
it's one of those movies I'll probably buy. Actually,
When I was a kid, I thought that was so romantic. How he was just trying to remember her,
Yeah.
and he would be cutting out the pieces,
Yeah.
and just trying to.
and she's watching him do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it makes me so, because like I get sad all the time just like thinking about like beautiful memories, and like I have a bad memory. Like my maternal grandparents have like Alzheimer's runs in the family really hard, so it's like sometimes I get melancholy just thinking about all the memories I have that will just fade away, and what wonderful memories I do have that are, it's like when I'm trying to think about a dance I had, like the first girl I danced with when I was like 13, and I can remember some of the the feelings I had, right?
Yeah.
Of excitement and the heart beating in your chest, but I can't even remember what the person's face looked like anymore.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's so
He's
trying so
persistent.
hard
Yeah.
to hang on to it,
Yeah.
I thought it was really romantic, and I still do.
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, they did a really good job of making Truman into a real person. Like,
And I think it's completely feasible how he just ends up marrying Laura Linney.
yeah.
It's like, yeah. I mean,
Right, because like I can imagine some people just marrying someone
yeah, I mean,
because that's who's there.
Because that's
Like-
who's presented themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, she's at 8.5. It's like,
That's how he
Tight.
put it.
yeah,
That's what he said that day
yeah.
when she had her fingers crossed at
Yeah.
that wedding.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but then when he saw that in the scrapbook, he was like,
Yeah.
7.5.
Yeah, like it's cool because
But then, okay, yeah, I want to talk about like real quick some of the moral implications and things. So it's like so they're paying her to have sex with him,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so
Well, I mean, they're paying her to have sex with him. Not only just that, and to also sort of force a child because she presses
They-
him about it. So
They
sometimes
did want to say something about wanting to have the first conception ever filmed on TV. Or
yeah,
something
like the
that.
first broadcast conception.
Yeah.
oh,
So that made me think though. Do these actors live in that world only, or do they leave? Because how could she leave?
yeah.
she has to.
Well, right. How could she have taken the time to even do that interview at the beginning of the show?
Yeah.
I have to imagine she has in her contract like 3 off weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, something
Where-
that
where
like
she's
Like where she has
she
to
goes
stay
on a-
overnight at the hospital or something.
business
Yeah.
trip or something.
Right, something that they can just without a doubt say,
Yeah.
he can't possibly be there,
Well, I mean, she does say something like that, like where she sort of hints how stressful that job might be. She says this is unprofessional.
yeah.
Whenever,
Oh yeah.
whenever,
She's starting to crack.
yeah. Also, I love his best friend. How he always has that 6-pack.
That's
I
awesome.
like when he opens the door. It's the 6-pack first.
It's like a battering ram.
Sometimes that's the battering ram I need.
I love that guy when he walks in. He's just like, "Oh, party time!"
Yeah.
It's just like this domestic dispute happening. But I like how that clears everything up too.
Yeah. Cut the tension real quick.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, the fact that they had to rely on Truman to be a very level man. Because if it was me that they had done the Truman Show, I
I'd have cracked at 12.
right, I have alcoholism running through my veins on both sides. I'd be like, motherfucker, that 12-pack ain't gonna be enough. You come back here with an 18 of Miller.
Yeah.
Or,
Well,
You better get me Milwaukee's best.
Right,
Bro.
right, and that's what I wonder. They must have had to do a lot of work to keep him sane, to keep him on the straight on the straight
Pro-social.
and narrow and stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
imagine being someone who's antisocial,
Right.
someone who like drinks a lot.
Everybody
someone
has some antisocial
for someone who
characteristics.
every night probably drinks himself to sleep.
Or is a compulsive masturbator.
Yeah, it stays. Yeah. Oh yeah. How would you
Yeah.
write? How would you write that?
That's
up?
not good TV.
Yeah.
Well, some people.
Yeah. I mean, to those security guards, they're like, "Oh, you never see anything." They just fade away and play some music when it's happening.
Aw.
Whatever, man.
Bet you they'd like it.
I'd be like, when is the uncensored box set coming out?
800 disc box set.
Oh my god! Every time Truman's gone to the restroom, just in a box.
Oh.
That's what today would be. YouTube, like, super clip of an entire Truman Show.
Truman's best piss.
Truman's biggest dump. Truman's biggest porcelain cracker.
Oh.
But yeah, well, also you could imagine fail compilations like of people.
Jesus.
well,
Epic Truman fails.
This is. Oh man.
Right, but that's the thing. You can imagine the show happening, like, and it's more and more believable. Like, especially with how fascinated we are of knowing every aspect of people we follow online. Right?
Yeah.
Like Snapchat, Instagram stories. Like those are regular, hour by hour updates of things people do, and you know what? I look at them. Like people that I follow online, I watch them.
Oh yeah.
all of them.
If the Truman Show was real, it would be huge. It would
Yeah.
be the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I would watch-
People like to live vicariously through others.
I would just watch it just for the social experiment aspect of it.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
And just think about, like, wanting to have a bird's eye view of someone's life. Because I don't have that perspective of anyone's life aside from my own.
Yeah.
And to have it curated in front of me, that would also give me a lot of insight to myself. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people go to for it,
Yeah. Do you think that was something that, trying to think through Christoph's mind, do you think that's something that he wanted for people to see and try and emulate?
He does say at one point when Truman's about to leave through that through the dome, he says something like, "You've saved people's lives and given them hope and everything." Yeah.
Yeah, but did he try to murk him?
That part was scary, man. Like, Paul Giamatti was like, "No, I'm not going to," and he looked like terrified.
I think he was running a risk reward. I think at first he was like, "Yeah, crank that weather up, baby, because we want him to turn around."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, bro.
But yeah, also imagine something that big, that 24/7, suddenly cutting out when it's never happened before.
I like when the technical difficulty thing comes on there, like, this is the best we've ever been rated.
Yeah.
Everyone's watching now.
Yeah.
You guys remember that movie Boyhood?
With Leonardo DiCaprio?
Is that the one where the one where they follow the kid like in real life?
They document
that's this boy's life.
A natural boy growing up.
Yeah, that's
the. I had to think that has to be inspired at least a little bit by this. I don't know when they started it.
Yeah,
though. That's the thing.
But man, like,
it definitely has some concurrent.
Yeah.
But
that's like that's a real life thing, and that's terrifying.
Oh, I know.
Like Richard
I know.
Like, oh man, that's weird. Like,
but so there were things like they mentioned that he's the first citizen to be adopted by a corporation.
Yeah.
So it really makes you wonder, like, and what else is going on in this world?
Yeah.
Like, he's the first. That implies that.
Is there another Truman?
That, like, there's like this.
Or will there be more?
Yeah.
Yeah, or that this is like the good. This is like the NBC.
Yeah.
Like Truman, the OG, and then somewhere there's a really bad like.
An HBO Truman.
There's a Disney teen
the X-rated one.
There's the X-rated one where they get like a drug addict, where they get the person who has the antisocial predispositions.
And
that's the HBO
it's totally
one.
possible. You just get like some parents that are like going to jail, and you take their child because it's like they start from the beginning. Yeah. That kid,
and then they can also
none the wiser.
I mean, about the same time,
stick them in Westworld.
It's like when you have someone with certain predispositions, like if you have a very positive environment, they can overcome that. Mm-hmm. And then HBO just says, no, fuck that.
They keep throwing stuff at them.
Yeah, and they just watch this poor child break.
Hey, I would watch that.
I'd watch the highlights.
I would not watch that. I'd read the summary of that one.
Yeah.
You tune in.
Yeah, you tune in once.
I'd see 5 minutes.
Yeah, because
I'll check it out.
Here's how they get me: the one where he whoops someone's ass,
or
because I watch World Star videos all the time.
Or gets his ass whooped. Like, what if they advertised next week we're gonna throw this 300-pound dude in a bar and he's gonna start some shit with our guy.
And what's crazy is they could cut it and preview it if they know enough about him.
Yeah.
Or like on Talking Truman, they have a little like promo. They're like, next week.
Yeah.
A gang comes over and they ask him for a favor.
Well, they sort of say stuff like that. They sort of pre-announce it's just like, next week we're going to introduce his new love interest.
Yes.
Like,
and like the wife's going to leave him.
Yeah. Oh man, that's nuts, man. Like, it's creepy how real it feels. I don't like it. I like it, but
I like it a lot.
My big takeaway was just a weird mix of emotions that I was feeling at all times. Just like it's equally like really funny and clever, but like if you really think about it, it's
sad.
It's horror.
It's such an effective, dramatic movie.
It is,
and it's like, and it exists in a place where it's like, so you can have something that's dramatic, and the story means something. So you have, say, a character piece about a woman whose child dies in infancy, that's compelling by nature. Mm-hmm. But this is, all the drama and everything came from these great ideas, these fantastic ideas, that's also speculative fiction, like what if, this, that, and that. And they had a great script, and they had great actors, and the direction was really good. And, yeah, I mean, like that's a special movie,
Yeah.
That is all those things. That's,
it's one of my favorite
that's a
movies.
great thing that film can do, and this movie has to be film, You know, it can't be a theater production. It's not television, you know. Like, this fully uses the medium of film to tell this story the way it needs to be told.
This could be a movie that... Actually, what would have been a really cool thing is if this movie premiered on TV.
Oh, that'd be nuts.
Like, imagine them setting something up like that.
Yeah.
Like, to add another layer of, like, this is something you're watching on TV. This is...
Wouldn't work now.
No.
Yeah, TV's kind of...
Yeah.
But it's like...
At the time, I mean, this was 1998.
Yeah.
TV was hot.
Yeah. Friends. But, what I was thinking is, like... I was like, man... This movie lost Best Picture to Shakespeare in Love.
Did it?
What horseshit. It wasn't even nominated for Best Picture. It was nominated for Best Director and Best Actor.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Jim Carrey did get nominated for Best Actor, but didn't get and I looked at the list, I was like, oh, none of these movies are as good except for one. But it also got snubbed too, which is Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, yeah, I
Fuck,
forgot about
yeah.
that.
I was like, if it wasn't for Saving Private Ryan, I think this
Yeah.
movie is better than Forrest Gump, arguably better than Pulp Fiction. TBH.
Think so?
I actually do. I think that it's a higher piece of art. I think that Pulp Fiction pulls from a lot of desperate parts, and it does it in a action, fun way. But Quentin Tarantino didn't invent noir. Quentin Tarantino didn't invent gangster films. He did not invent blaxploitation. You know,
He just mastered it.
he just. But he's really good at at putting all those disparate parts together to make something cool, which Pulp Fiction is, and it's effortlessly cool. But the fact that this is such an original movie is
I could see it.
that's why I think it is arguably better. It's definitely, I don't know. It's like I don't know.
It's one of those movies that when you don't think about, or when you think about it, it's like, why isn't this considered one of the better ones, right? Like, it's sort of like
critic rating is 98%.
yeah, but like you never hear people
But at the same
you
time,
never hear people say this is like
It's not in top 10 list or top list, really.
I think it has some capital though, cultural capital. But like for instance, what I was bemoaning is like Shakespeare in Love has none. Like nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like they were so off by that, and that was a Weinstein joint. So just think about that. You know, we're talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know what we're talking about.
Harvey Weinstein's version of the Truman Show.
Yeah, what if he was
different movie?
Yeah, what if Harvey Weinstein
Was the
Truman?
producer?
No, it was Truman.
What if he was Truman?
Let me see some stuff, man.
Oof.
Yeah, what if he was Christoph?
He's just relieving
That's what I'm
himself
thinking.
on the.
That would have been a new level of voyeurism.
Yeah.
It would have been nasty.
But a sweet movie.
Yeah, that was a great pick. That was one of my favorite picks so far.
Oh.
I
Yeah,
really enjoyed that.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I think it's man, it's like when I think about like Blade Runner and Videodrome, those are definitely movies that are very good and on their own. Yojimbo 2, But it's like but it's like this movie takes to heights we haven't been before emotionally. You know? And multiple times, because there are times that like Blade Runner like kind of peaks when it's in the rain.
Yep.
But many times this movie like takes us to emotional heights and emotional lows that actually makes that more unique than anything with respects to the rest of the movies we've done. This movie.
Yeah, I think it has a spectrum that I don't think we've discussed before in terms of like highs and lows. And I wasn't expecting at all. Okay. I was expecting kind of a frolic, at least until the end when he figures it out or whatever. Yeah. But it was pretty harrowing to see him kind of piece it together and to watch the whole thing unravel right before his eyes.
Yeah. And I think it's cool. Like, one last thing for me, story-wise, is he still decides to leave after they give him his dad back. Like, it's between that, oh, your dad's back, that he's just like, no, still something. Like, it's interesting to think that he took that information and said, "Yeah, something is definitely wrong." That like,
Yeah.
they just gave me something that has been haunting me for my entire life back. Like, you know, nature. One thing that I think about this movie that I think Jurassic Park also did was
Wait, what?
you can't tame something that's alive. You know what I mean? Like,
Miley Cyrus would say the same. In 2008, she had a single. She said, "I can't be tamed," and the world took notice.
oh yeah.
You know what Dutch Vanderland of Red Dead Redemption fame says
What is
at the
that?
end of the first game?
What did he
He
say?
says, "You can't fight nature. That's a paradox."
Whoa.
Arthur.
I love illiterate cowboys.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite tropes.
I mean, that's very, very wise. But what's up, baby?
So yeah, that was Truman Show. I'm glad you really
Yeah,
enjoyed
that was
it.
awesome. I had a great time. Good discussion. Good watch.
Yeah. Now
You're
we
up
got,
to bat, Art. You're on deck.
You're on. It's 2 outs.
And this is going to be the last pick before Christmas cast.
2 outs.
All right.
3 balls, 2 strikes.
So this is, this one's for Chris
Oh,
because you
Wow.
know, with me and Dan trying to shake it up, Chris was like, another
Right,
PG movie.
Let's reduce back
What
to
is
the
this?
mean.
Yeah.
For babies.
Baby movie
What is this,
time.
baby cast? Huh. No, sir. And so
Thank God.
for Chris, the next movie I want to do is a 1984 American neo-noir crime film by brothers Joel and Ethan Coen.
Oh, I know what it is.
Their directorial debut.
Oh, I'm excited.
I don't think I've seen it.
Blood
Blood
Simple.
Simple.
I haven't
Yes.
seen it yet. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I've been clamoring for a Coen Brothers movie. I
Yeah.
haven't seen one in a while. I
Yeah.
almost rewatched No Country for Old
There's a
Men
new one
recently.
coming out soon.
Yeah, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yeah.
That looks.
Is it?
looks
I thought
interesting,
it's a Western anthology, right?
Yeah.
I'm not
Something
sure.
like that.
Yeah, it's not just or at least I didn't think. I thought it was not just a feature film. It was a
Yeah, I'm not
anthology.
sure. I don't know how it's released,
I'll have to.
but I'm interested
check
in
that out.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Blood Simple is, man.
Oh, I'm really looking
We'll
forward
talk
to
about
this.
it more. But if this is not to me the best like directorial debut, like I don't know what is. I definitely think it's better than a lot of the ones I can think of, like Mean Streets or Reservoir Dogs or shit. I wish I knew maybe like with Akira Kurosawa's directorial debut, he might give him a run for it if Rashomon is it. But this is up there. It's super strong. It's a great movie. It's my favorite genre again, noir, and yeah, you guys are gonna be in for it, and it takes place in, of course, the great state of Texas,
Ooh.
and
I imagine West Texas, right?
yeah.
Any actors I'd recognize?
Actually, parts of it are in Houston. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I'll talk to Chris because he's the ones and twos.
Yeah.
Maybe we can start off with there's a thrash band from Texas called Power Trip,
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
and one of their
I know
best
you have some
songs.
shirts.
One of their best songs from their album Manifest Decimation starts with the best
that's a good
audio
name.
clip at the very the opening monologue
Hell
of Blood
yeah.
Simple, and we'll capture that. All use out there, check it out. Blood Simple.
Wait, who's in it?
Acting. I don't know anyone's name aside from the McDormand, Frances McDormand.
Oh, she's great though.
Yeah, so she's in it.
She's a really solid
Okay.
actress.
And so of course this is where they meet her and
Cool.
I forgot if it's Joel or Ethan that marries her, but yeah, but that's the movie.
Yeah.
Very
Blood
excited to
Simple.
watch
Looking,
that.
very looking forward to it. And so all of our listeners have a very happy Thanksgiving. Sure stuff.
Well, more importantly, have a good Black Friday, right?
Well, of
That's
course.
what it's all about.
No, Cyber Monday. Hold on, Cyber Monday. You gotta have a good.
Tech
Cyber
Tuesday? Waldo Wednesday?
Monday. No, it was like Who Gives a Shit Wednesday or something like that.
What? That's not the same.
Boxing Day.
Okay, what?
Boxing Day.
Whip 'em Wednesday.
I don't like that.